Sanibonani Mzansi, Dumelang. Welcome to the Health Club, proudly brought to you by the Government Employees Medical Scheme. I'm your host, Clement Manyatela. Today, we are tackling a topic that's close to home for so many South Africans: obesity, nutrition, and what it truly means to live a healthy life. We're in a country where bunny chows and braai vleis are part of our culture, but so are rising rates of diabetes, heart disease, and hypertension. And behind those statistics are real people, real families, and real struggles. In this episode, we're not here to judge bodies, we're here to understand them better. What causes obesity? Why is access to nutritious food still a challenge for many? And how do we move from shame to solutions? From expert insights to lived experiences, today we unpack the weight behind the weight and give you tools to take back control of your health, one step and one mindset at a time.
Realistically, we need to appreciate the fact that consumption of food at the moment is driven by hunger.
Yeah.
Was I born obese? My mother says so. When I was a child, I was 3.7 kilograms.
So if you think of the average South African who's getting that 350, what are you buying? You're buying pap, you're buying oil, and things that are not necessarily nutritious.
What we've promised you this season is honest, practical conversations about our health. And today's topic hits home in more ways than one. Obesity isn't just about body size. It's about access, education, and the way we live. In fact, what we eat, how we move, and what we're taught about health from a young age can shape our futures in ways we don't always see coming. So to help us understand this complex picture, we spoke to someone who's faced the journey firsthand and is now using their story to inspire others. Have a look at this, and we'll talk more after the break.
My name is Nkaniso Bengu, born and bred in Durban. They call me a hybrid entertainer because I sing and I act and I present. So most people can't do that. So that's what I do. That's who I am. Was I born obese? My mother says so. When I was a child, I was 3.7 kilograms. I grew up at my grandmother's house, and there was a lot of us, and kids, they were not allowed to eat your eggs, your nice stuff, sausages and all of those nice stuff. But there was a chance when my mother was called by her big brother to come and stay at his house at the government forum, Kwazet, another section from Mlazi, but then we moved to Kwazet. There I was eating like there was no tomorrow. Because now, the trauma of being at my granny's house, now I'm at my mama's house and there's only 3 of us. Now I have options. But now I'm eating in a way that I'm scared that I might go back to my grandmama's house and eat the type of food. So I was eating like 6 times a day. When I moved to Wazet when I was 14, that's when now my body couldn't metabolize as fast as I'm eating. The turning point for me to start my weight loss journey, I was performing with Joyous Celebration. And performing with Joyous Celebration, you stand for the first half of the show is like 2 hours. And then there's a break here, 20 minutes. And then the second the second part of the show is another 2 hours. So that's like 4 hours standing. And every time when I was done, I couldn't walk for the whole week. I look down upon myself, I undermine myself, I feel depressed, my weight, I always have a problem with it, I'm not sure. So all these things play a role. And emotionally, people, when you are obese and you are overweight, you are an easy target. So in 2016, I decided when I turned 40 that it is time for me to lose weight. And I started.
welcome back. Before the break, we heard Nkanyisho share his journey with weight and the relationship he's had with food. That was such a powerful reminder that the weight we carry isn't just physical, it's emotional, social, and deeply personal. To help us unpack this issue further, I'm joined by two experts who bring a wealth of experience and insights. We have Professor Thokozani Simelani, the Professor of Practice at the University of Johannesburg and Human Sciences Research Council, and Shonisani Neparama, who is a nutrition science lead at the Heart and Stroke Foundation, South Africa. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want us to start with just broadly the issue of nutrition and health in South Africa. What do you think is the state of nutrition and health? Let's start with you, Prof.
I would rather share the emerging trend in South Africa with regards to nutrition. Some of the implications actually came out of the survey, the large-scale survey that we conducted as Human Sciences Research Council. The critical one is the cost of nutrition. When I say the cost of nutrition, I'm not referring to the cost of food, but it is the cost of getting and accessing nutritious food that keeps people healthier. That has increased. Has increased because people are no longer producing their food. So as a result, in the households, they are no longer like healthy vegetables which you can pick up from the garden. They are no longer healthy chickens which you can slaughter today and eat today.
Yeah.
So people will have to go to supermarkets because there has been an increase in the dependency of supermarkets to get food. And that food have to be kept or refrigerated to maintain a particular level of healthiness, of freshness. That on its own combined has increased the cost of nutrition in the household.
And what are the consequences of that?
To add on what he said, the other thing is that people nowadays have come more busier from making homemade meals. They are now preferring to get more takeaways, restaurant, because obviously they're trying to get more job, to get more money to be able to provide for home, but forgetting that the food that they're buying most of the time in the restaurants or takeaways, those food, they are not nutritious, they are not healthy for them in a long run, which can contribute to non-communicable diseases.
Yeah. What about the issue of affordability, Prof? Because sometimes when you talk to people about nutrition and health, one of the things they raise is, but we don't have money. Some of those products you're telling us about are quite costly. How are we addressing that aspect?
That's exactly the foundation. Cash has become the primary determinant of the access to food. The incomes in the past, I would say 10 years for household have not been increasing. So that on its own then has led people to buy what they can afford without taking into consideration the importance of nutrition or the nutritional value of what they are eating. So all in all, what I can say is that at household level, as well as at individual level, we just eat to fill our stomachs.
Oh, yeah, and that has got consequences for us on our health. Dr. Neparama, I mean, when we look at, being on the front lines of nutrition education, are you seeing a direct connection, though, between poor nutrition and the health conditions, whether it's hypertension or obesity or stroke, especially in young people?
Yeah, we have seen an increase with regards to the number of people that are being diagnosed with non-communicable disease. Currently, if you go check the stats, 1 in 3 adults, they are having hypertension in South Africa. Also, to come to obesity, the stats for people that are overweight and obesity in South Africa has increased. From the National Food and Nutrition Security Survey that was done in 2023, they found that 69% of women and 38% of men, they are classified as being overweight and underweight. That is because most of them, they are eating food that are high in fat, and also other things that can be genetics, knowledge of which food are healthy and unhealthy, because they are not able to afford healthier or nutritious food, and probably they also don't have an education on which food can help them to provide their body with nutritious nutrients, but still not making them to be obesity.
Yeah. Prof, from a policy and maybe even research perspective, what patterns have actually emerged in as far as food insecurity is concerned, and of course the link to these non-communicable diseases?
Realistically, we need to appreciate the fact that consumption of food at the moment is driven by hunger.
Yeah.
If you don't have anything to eat, I mean, you don't select because your choices are limited. So the interesting consideration then could be, what is it that we need to do to help ourselves to move out of that exposure to advertised food?
Yeah.
Produce your own food. I mean, to have a small garden where you are producing your own vegetable, to keep stock of chicken, it's not something that really requires a lot of energy, but a practice and a change of mind.
Yeah.
So for me, I would rather say that let us rather adapt and change our minds and encourage ourselves in that we will strive to produce our own food to reduce exposure to these takeaway, which now we know very well that they have a very, very dire health consequences.
Oh, no, absolutely. We'll continue this conversation in just a moment, but first, let's hear from Dr. Thandeka Maphumulo from GEMS, who's going to share how the scheme is stepping in to support their members with a dedicated weight management program designed to empower real, lasting change. Have a look.
My name is Dr. Thandeka Maphumulo. I am the Clinical Health Policy Manager within GEMS. I'm happy to say that GEMS has launched a weight management program. This weight management program is a multidisciplinary team which involves healthcare practitioners, dietitian, and also part of that program entails weight management education. GEMS defines being overweight or obese by actually having your healthcare practitioner, we advise you to go and see your healthcare practitioner, and they do a screening test, which is your body mass index, for in short BMI, where it entails you to take your weight and also take your height, and then from there we are able to then come to a conclusion if you are underweight, normal, obese or overly obese. By us launching this pilot project, obviously it's still in its infancy stage. Once we have the results, we are hoping that the outcomes or the objectives of the pilot project is able to be rolled out and it is accessible for all our members.
What a powerful initiative. It's encouraging to see GEMS not only acknowledging the challenge, but actively providing members with tools and support to take control of their weight and overall health. Let's continue our conversation now, Prof. You work on a lot of research. There's a lot of data that you work with. How do we make sure that that data doesn't just sit there, but it's actually used to influence, tangible policy decisions?
Certainly, we do have a lot of data. And this data needs to be infused into the programs and the projects of intervention by the government. Because we cannot teach people what to eat, but we can encourage people to be active participants on what they eat.
Yeah.
So that's one of the projects that the department is now started as a policy interventions from the survey itself that we've conducted. And secondly, at a government level, the government has initiated the Food Security Council, which actual fact is checked by the president himself. And it's a process, that one is being developed. And below that is the review of the food security plan, which was developed, I think, 10 years ago. All those interventions are the interventions where the data that we have collected fit in. But lastly, let me also indicate that our study was based on districts, at a district level, as the reporting structures. And we've realized that there are variation in districts. Some districts, there is a higher incidences of hunger. In other ones, there is not like that.
Yeah.
And then they came up with what they call priority districts. The priority district, they are channeling funding to those districts to assist people to be able to produce food and also have access to nutritious food.
Oh, okay, great. Shonisani, let's now be practical as we wrap. There may be some people watching us at home now and they're like, yeah, we hear you guys talk about the need to have eat healthy, to be intentional about our nutrition, but I don't have access to that, or there's that issue we spoke about of affordability. What would be your advice to someone who feels overwhelmed by price and access? Where do they begin? Where they say, yeah, I want to eat healthy, I want to try be intentional about that. Where do they begin? What's your advice?
When it comes to changing your diet to start adopting a healthy behavior, you need to start small, granular until you get there. You can't just wake up one day and decide that I'm gonna start eating healthier. So the first thing that you need to do, you can start by reading food label. Like when you go to shop, reading food label will help you to be able to pick up which food are healthy, which ones are not healthy. You check for sodium, which is salt. You check for sugar. You also check for fat. So with sugar, you aim for less than 5 gram per 100 gram. With sodium, you aim for food that has less than 120 milligram per 100 gram of sodium. And with fat, you also aim for less than 5 gram per 100 gram of fat per 100 gram. So when you read food labeling, you are able to pick up which food are healthier, which ones are not healthier. The other most important thing also is to eat wholesome, healthy food. Wholesome, it means food that are less processed, because those that are less processed, they contain nutrients, vitamins, and minerals that will help to strengthen our immune system. Like Prof said, people can start community gardens, because community gardens or home garden, they're able to provide us with fruits and vegetables that we can be able to include on our diet, that will also ensure that we are eating healthier food. The other thing that community can do is that from those community gardens, they can approach supermarkets around the area where they sell those vegetables and fruits to them to generate income that they will be using to buy other things that they're not able to produce at home. The other thing that we advise people is that when they go shopping, they can also look for the Heart Mark endorsement program that we have at the Heart and Stroke Foundation South Africa. So when they see a product with a heart and a fork and the phrase written approved as part of the Heart and Stroke eating plan, it means that food is a healthier alternative because it's low in salt, it's low in sugar, it's low in fat, and also it's high in fiber, because we also need to incorporate fiber that we get from whole grains as well as from fruits into our diet, because it helps us with lowering cholesterol level, blood pressure level, as well as to improve our bowel movement.
Oh, thank you. Shonisani and Professor Simelane, thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we are scratching the surface of a much deeper conversation. So after the break, we'll look at what it takes to turn things around, from policy to the plate. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Health Club. We've been unpacking the impact of obesity on our health, our families, and our healthcare system. It's a complex issue, but as we've seen, it's one we can tackle together with the right tools and support. Up next, we meet someone who's lived this journey, a GEMS member, Nomathemba, who took the bold step to prioritize her health. Her story is not just about weight loss. It's about regaining confidence, energy, and a new outlook on life. Take a look.
I'm Nomathemba Chandiwana, a medical doctor and researcher, and I'm Chief Scientific Officer at the Desmond Tutu Health Foundation in Cape Town. Today we're going to be talking about obesity in South Africa and how to treat it. Obesity causes up to 200 other medical conditions. So if you think about the game of Jenga, where you have obesity as a tile at the bottom and all these other diseases at the top. And it's really, what are we eating? So if you think of the average South African who's getting that 350, what are you buying? You're buying pap, you're buying oil, and things that are not necessarily nutritious. And they are things that make you feel full, but are not really healthy for you. In our toolbox of treating obesity, we have a few options. People really think surgery is not a good option, but surgery is amazing. And we've had surgery for a long time. We're talking about 20, 30 years. It's very safe, And even now, we've got minimally invasive surgery, which means they don't open you up like they would a normal surgery. They do it through microscopes, so they're able to look through. But surgery, I think we don't use it enough because we're scared. There's a lot of stigma to getting surgery. We hear people are going to Turkey and doing things, but surgery is actually important because it does help and people are able to lose quite big amounts of weight. But admittedly, both in the private sector and the public sector, surgery in South Africa is really difficult. So we're living in such an exciting time where obesity, before we didn't have much for people, but we now have drugs available. Anyone who's got social media, we call it the Kardashian effect. You're seeing all the celebrities, both abroad and here in South Africa, getting quite slim. So we've got injectable medications, which are amazing because they're life changers. One of the questions that I get when people come to me asking, do these drugs work? Are they safe? These drugs, there's so many clinical trials that show that they work and they're safe, but no drug is without side effects.
A powerful reminder that with the right support and determination, meaningful health changes are possible. At GEMS, supporting members like Nomathemba is at the heart of their mission. They offer a range of programs and resources designed to empower healthier lifestyles. Let's take a moment to catch up on some of the latest news and updates from GEMS, from wellness initiatives to new tools available for members.
Welcome to GEMS News. In this edition, we explore how good nutrition and smart eating habits can support your health goals. Maintaining a healthy weight through good nutrition reduces your risk of serious health conditions, including diabetes, heart disease, and certain cancers. Eating healthy doesn't have to be expensive. Simple changes such as buying seasonal produce, choosing whole grains, and preparing your meals at home can significantly lower costs. To reduce costs, plan your meals in advance, shop with a list, and avoid buying processed food. Small adjustments in your diet and lifestyle can have lasting impacts on your well-being. For more information, visit the GEMS website or contact us through our social media channels.
Whoa, today we tackled a big issue, and not just in size. Obesity is complex, it's layered, and it's deeply personal, but it's also something we can manage when we're equipped with the right knowledge, support, and mindset. From expert insights to real-life stories, one thing is clear. Health isn't just about weight, it's about balance, it's about choices and community. And that's where GEMS comes in. They're not just funding healthcare, they're helping shape healthier futures. So as we wrap up, remember, your journey is valid and every small step counts. Whether it's swapping out one meal, taking that first walk, or even reaching out for help, it matters. Until next time, remember to stay informed, stay active, and stay kind to your body. You only get one, so please love it well. Good night from the Health Club. We'll see you next week. Cheers.